Welcome to On Air with Russell of Hotels, where we talk about everything hospitality, from hotels to influencers and everything in between. We will feature guest interviews with hospitality professionals who will share their experiences. Your host, Russell Edmond, has spent over 25 years in the hospitality industry, beginning his career with Marriott International in hotel operations, before moving into the sales arena and becoming a relationship-building director of sales and marketing. Russell then went to the other side as a hospitality entrepreneur. He now consults in the hotel and meeting space, which includes being the CEO of Russell of Hotels Group. Did I mention he was a veggie foodie? Yes, Russell is always looking for good non-meat eats. Please welcome your host, Russell Edmond.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining On Air with Russell of Hotels. Thank you so much. Today is Tuesday. What's the date? September 21st. I almost forgot. But thank you so much for joining On Air. Today is show number 125. I do thank you. I do not take it lightly that people actually want to tune in and listen to me talk, or actually, if they don't tune in, maybe they actually view me, they watch me. So I appreciate people even doing that. So once again, thank you for joining On Air with Russell of Hotels, which is a live hospitality talk show. We talk about a little bit of everything, but it's all the base of everything we talk about is always hospitality. And when I mean hospitality, it can be hotels, it can be restaurants, it can be tourism boards, CVBs, DMOs, DMCs, whatever you want to call them, whatever you know things by, whatever acronyms you know as far as the hotel industry is concerned. That's what we talk about. So thank you again. We're live today on YouTube. Okay, so we're live on YouTube, and then this same broadcast, or whatever you want to say, podcast broadcast, it will be on LinkedIn after I'm finished. Now, normally I would go live to LinkedIn, but I've been having some, I'm always having something, right? I'm always experimenting with something or trying to make things a little better. Like I said, I never compete with anyone else that does podcasts. I compete with myself. So I like to experiment and see what's the best platform for me, or how should I deliver the product to that platform? Is that, if that's live, then I'll do it live. If it's a copy, meaning a recording, then I'll do it that way. So I'm just kind of experimenting today and see, because last week, I'll be frank with you, last week on LinkedIn, I went live on LinkedIn, and I did not get the viewership that I thought I should get, because normally I get a certain amount, but last week I didn't get the viewership that I thought I would get. The views, the likes, the whatever, the comments, I didn't get those. So I said, you know what? Let me change things up a little bit. And that's what I'm doing. So that's it. So that's the reason for that. But once again, thank you so much for joining. Like I said, it is live on YouTube today, and it will be on the other platforms later. Also, it's a podcast as well. So as soon as I hit the go live button, I hit my recording button on my Rodecaster. So the audio portion will be available on Spotify, Pocket Cast, Google Podcasts, Overcast, and Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. And hopefully On Air with Russell of Hotels is one of those. Connecting people and collaboration. That's what we're all about. Hashtag Hospitality Unplugged. I'm sorry, I forget that, when I have these new platforms, I have all this new stuff. I forget that, I have this kind of, what do you call it? It's a format. And it basically supposed to keep me organized. So you can see I just popped up On Air with Russell of Hotels, and then we're live from Los Angeles, if you did not know that. So those things are now on there. So like I said, I forgot. I just went to this new platform. It's called Ecamm, and it's specifically for was Ecamm Live for Mac or Apple. What is this? MacBook Pro, right? So it's specific to those or that particular computer. So I'm using that. I just got me a new MacBook Pro 2 weeks ago. So I've been using it. This is the second week I've used Ecamm. So I'm so far so good. I'm pleased with it. Of course, there's some things. There's always going to be something you don't like about something, right? But it's okay to experiment with different things, right? If you're doing your own podcast, your own show, it's okay to experiment and figure things out. And that's what I do. And you guys know I don't have a problem with going from one platform to another. Like I said, I compete with me. And sometimes that's not that's not a good thing that I'm competing with myself. But to me, it keeps me on point, keeps me on task, and makes sure that I check all the boxes that I need to check, and that I'm trying to deliver the best, podcast that I can deliver. So there you go. Did I say it was show 125? 125 shows I've done. I remember back when I first started with LA Talk Radio and doing these shows, and how nervous I was, and is this gonna work, or I don't know what my expectations were, but learning is always an expectation, right? Learning something new, because it was something that was totally out of my wheelhouse, and it was something that I had never even thought about doing, but I went ahead and did anyway. And 2.5, 3 years later, I am so glad that I did it, and I've learned so much. And I thank the people back there, Sam and Ronan, for the knowledge they gave me. I don't know if they knew I was taking that knowledge, but I appreciate the information they gave me, and just how they ran a tight ship, and very professional, everything. So I did learn, and I do thank you for the 2 years that we spent together at LA Talk Radio. So that's how this whole thing all came about, right? So there you go. And I'm saying this to say, people that are on the fence about starting podcasts, I just had this question with a friend of mine, or not question, I had this conversation with a friend of mine last week, where over lunch or whatever, he's talking about doing this podcast, and he said he's giving me what they would do and all that. I said, well, what are you waiting for? Well, I have this guy that's going to do it with me. I said, no, just do it, right? If he wants to come in later, do it. But when you have all these ideas and things, you got to start doing them, right? Because someone else, not that someone else is going to come out and steal your ideas. I mean, it's still you. You're the individual, and you make things different, or you make things where other people want to listen to. I mean, it's you, it's your personality. That's what you bring to the table, right? But I wanted a bit of advice I gave him, as I said, make sure you're able to carry the show by yourself. Is it okay to have guests? Of course. Oh yeah, you need guests because you want to break things up, and you want to have maybe experienced people or on that particular subject come on and talk, and that's great, right? Depending on the subject matter. But what about the times you don't have anyone to talk to? You're just not going to do the show. So I said, one thing you need to make sure, that it's your show, you're the star of the show, right? So you need to be able to carry the show. But yeah, okay, you do want to have guests and things like that. But what happens when the guests don't show up, or you can't get a guest? You got to carry the show. So just make sure you know enough about that subject matter to carry it, right? Because everybody wants to do it, but they never pull the trigger. Everyone does not always pull the trigger, because they have all these, well, when I do this, then I get that. When I buy this, then I'll start. When I get to this point, then we'll do it. I said, no. If I waited for people to join in with me, or to when it was perfect, I'll be waiting forever. I'll still be waiting, right? 2 years later, 3 years later, I'll still be waiting. But anyway, I want to give a disclaimer here before we move forward. I'm having some construction work done in my back patio, and you may hear some noise, some background noise. So I do want to let you know that. And I do apologize in advance for that. Okay. So if you happen to hear, because I can hear a little chatter in the back, just to let you know. So #Hospitality Unplugged, which means we talk about everything in the hospitality space. I did mention that a little while ago, but I wanted to put it up there because we are #Hospitality Unplugged on air with Russell Hotel. So we'll talk about the good, the bad, the ugly. And unfortunately, everything is not always good in our industry, but I try to make it, fun, make light of it every now and then if I can. And I don't know if you can see the ticker. Yes, we're live from LA, show number 125, and happy Hispanic Heritage Month. So make sure we appreciate, we acknowledge, we celebrate the contributions of Hispanics, Latinos, in our everyday lives here in the U.S. because they are appreciated, and well, they should be appreciated. If they're not, they should be appreciated. We all should be appreciated, but specifically on Hispanic Heritage Month, we need to appreciate it. It should be appreciated all year round, but some people don't for whatever reason. But no, I appreciate everything, all the contributions. In fact, we're going to have Miss Jeanette Seha on the show. She's going to come on and talk about some things. You guys know Jeanette Seha, so follow her because she does a show as well. And she's a traveler. What did you call it? She's not an influencer, but a travel journalist. Okay, so she goes a little bit deeper than just being an influencer. Okay, so she's entrenched in journalism. Her background is journalism, so her information is spot on when it comes to some of the things that she produces. And she brought in, I listened to her show or watched her show a couple of weeks ago, and it had to do with a Latina, a lady who was a pilot for an airline. I mean, and the story was just so fascinating for me because I don't know if you guys know this. I don't know if I ever told anybody this. I haven't told a lot of people this, but I had this. I always wanted to fly, right? I'm always interested in flying. I growing up as a kid, I was into World War II planes. Okay, so I would have models, the replicas of, like a B-17 or a B-29 or a Corsair, all these planes, right? So I would build these planes and, kind of envision myself flying one day. Well, maybe that didn't happen. I did actually take two flying lessons because I was trying to get my license. But this is around the time when, I don't know if you guys remember, John F. Kennedy Jr. Was killed in a plane crash. That was around the time when I was trying to get my license. And after that happened, I'm like, well, dang, if JFK Jr. dies in the plane, well, what the heck am I doing flying this plane? So, or trying to learn. So that was something that just made me stop, which I should not have. So I should have continued, just like I'm saying, do podcasts. If you have a passion for something and you want to do it, just go ahead and do it. And you never know, I may pick it up again and do it. But I said that to say, the lady that Jeanette had on her show was just dynamic, how she learned how to fly. Her father was actually a pilot and things like that. But not to get off of, get on this subject, another subject other than, concentrate on my show. But it was just interesting. So if you have time, Jeanette Seha, I can't remember what her show is, but you can just Google Jeanette Seha and look at some of her past podcasts. And you would be amazed of, some of the subject matter and this stuff is very timely. So check it out. So that's why I said that. And we want her on the show. We want her back on the show. I did have a brief conversation with her to have her back on the show because she's been on before and just to catch us up on what she's been working on. So that's why I said that. Thank you to Mr. Bruce Jordan. He was a guest last week. He's with Hotel Guest Management. He was last week's guest, and he has a couple shows that we talked about. And we just talked about a lot of things hospitality because he's one of those people that goes into hotels and turns them around. I mean, he doesn't just talk about it, he actually does it. He actually lives it. You see some of these shows on TV where, so they go in and within 30 minutes or an hour, they got this show turned around, right? Well, they don't talk, or they got this hotel turned around. They don't talk about the ins and outs of what happens, dealing with disgruntled employees or disgruntled guests or, trying to get things fixed and in order. They don't talk about all that stuff or they don't show it. Well, Bruce actually is the nuts and bolts of that behind the scenes, what goes on, and he's trying to make things better for the ownership, because no one wants to, if you invest in, millions of dollars in a hotel, you don't want to lose money. You should be making money because it's an investment, right? Well, he's one that comes in, assesses the hotel, and basically turns it around. So those are the things that we talked about last week. But yeah, so check out if you didn't hear or watch last week's episode, please check it out. But thank you again, Bruce, for coming on. We definitely have to have him back on the show at a later time so he can come on and talk about, some of the projects he's working on. Industry news 2021. Okay, where am I on my thing here? Did I forget something? I think I probably did. International Housekeeping Week. See, that's why I have this thing. So I click it and these things pop up. So International Housekeeping Week was last week, okay? And I had been talking about it 2 weeks prior to that because I don't want people to forget, because it's all about appreciating, housekeepers or people within the housekeeping department of hotels. So we want to make sure that we did celebrate those things. In fact, through LinkedIn, I was able to find some hotels that had posted things about it, right? They posted it on LinkedIn and other social media platforms. And I want to recognize those because I look for those things, right? I mean, I don't just look at LinkedIn or these social media platforms just for the heck of it. I'm looking at them because I want to see what content they're putting out there. Then that way I can come on the show and talk about it and give them a quick shout out. So I have a couple hotels I want to mention. So thank you to the hotels who recognize International Housekeeping Week. Not that a lot of people did not recognize it, but not everyone posted about it. That's the key. Post about it. Talk about it. It's okay, right? There's no rules that say, oh, I can't talk about that. Please, you want the more people to know about it, the more people know about your brand, right? So that's what it's all about. So the hotels I want to recognize at this point: Residence Inn and Courtyard LAX. Tony Marie Cruz is the director of sales and marketing there. She posted it, so that's why I'm mentioning her name. And I don't know the housekeeping manager there or director, but thank him for me, Tony Marie. I know Tony Marie, so that's why I'm mentioning her name. So once again, Residence Inn and Courtyard LAX right there on Century Boulevard. I thank you for posting. Hilton Pasadena, Jane Ong is the director of ops. Thank you so much, Jane and Hilton Pasadena, for posting things as well. Hyatt Place Pasadena, Rosibel Vega is the housekeeping manager. Thank you so much for posting and making things lively for the housekeepers. Exciting. Doubletree San Pedro. That's Peter Sutphin. He's the general manager there. Thank you, Peter. Marriott Dallas Downtown, Juan Calderon. He's the GM there. And the Hyatt Regency LAX, Gerald Dotson is the executive housekeeper. So I do appreciate that you guys did something. Not that you did it, but you actually posted about it. Okay. And that, like I said, that goes a long way for people that are on social media, right? And they want to see, hey, what are these hotels doing? And yet you never know. Just because you did something, they may lead to someone booking your hotel because they see things. They visually see that you're appreciating your employees. That is very important, right? Okay, you're appreciating your employees. You're celebrating their success or the success of the hotel or this particular International Housekeeping Week. So I thank you because the housekeepers are the hardest working people in the hotel, and they need to be celebrated and acknowledged. And we should do more of that. But we gave them a week, right? So what else does somebody want, right? Anyway, but thank you so much for doing that. And whenever I see stuff, I'm gonna talk about it. So because that's what I do. Did you go back to work? Okay, back up. See, if I just follow what I'm supposed to do, it tells me, boom, increase social media engagement. So this goes with the recognition of International Housekeeping Week because they posted this on social media, right? They posted it, I saw it, and that's why I'm talking about it. So there you go. So want to increase your social media engagement. I say do IG Reels or do live broadcasts. Just like this is a live broadcast, right? This is a show, right? Do more, IG Reels. If you go to my Instagram page, you'll see what an IG Reel is. It's basically a video, but it's accompanied with music. Okay, and you can do some other graphics and throw some memes in there and all that stuff if that's what you choose to do. I don't choose to do all that, right? But I do choose to post, and I post often. Okay, so I try to post at least twice a day. So You want to make sure you're doing things just like I said, those hotels I just mentioned, they did things. They may have not have done reels, but they did something. They posted things on social media, which is great. And you can repurpose your content, meaning you can post on, say I posted this on Instagram, right, on reels, but I'll take that same content and post it on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, whatever. So you can TikTok, whatever you want to do, you can use that to repurpose it, right? So you can do one posting and use it on 4 or 5 different platforms. I mean, so why are we not doing it? But anyway, that's another question for another time. And believe me, the other time is coming. So you want to increase your social media engagement, use IG Reels, just post to any platforms, and do live broadcasts. Those are good starts, right? Did you go back to work and you want to be noticed? Create some content as well, right? So the Hyatt Regency LAX, they're great at doing this, right? They continuously post content on IG and on LinkedIn continuously. I just wish I knew who their director of marketing was, or director of sales and marketing, whoever is responsible for this. I need to meet you, because you're doing everything that I talk about, right? You're not just waiting for other people to post things. You're posting it. You're being the leader in your comp set as far as posting, and people know who you are. People know who the hotel is because you're posting, especially during this time, and your competition is not posting. So it's great that you are. So continued posting and continued success to the Hyatt Regency LAX. Let's see what else. Let's see. Did I finish that now? Let me go to the next part. Who's hiring? Okay, see, all I got to do is push buttons and it tells me where I need to go. So who's hiring? I have a couple that are hiring, a couple jobs that I happen to see. Excuse me, the Tilt Hollywood. Now, the Tilt Hollywood is in, I think it's on Highland, off of Highland. It's on the way. You pass, I know you pass the Hollywood Bowl, and on the way there, you pass like Mulholland Drive. You pass that. So it's on the left-hand side. It's called the Tilt, Tilt. I guess you get tilted when you go in there. Anyway, that's assistant general manager. They're looking for that. Let me just focus on what I'm supposed to be focusing on. So the Tilt Hollywood, they're looking for an assistant GM. They posted that last week. The catering sales manager at the Luskin Conference Center, that's on the campus of UCLA. They're looking for a catering sales manager. So the Luskin Conference Center is looking for a catering sales manager. The Conrad Los Angeles, Conrad Los Angeles, which is in LA. I don't know where this hotel is, and I didn't have time to look to see exactly where it is, but they're looking for a general manager. So Conrad is the flagship for Hilton hotels. Okay, just like the JW is for Marriott, the Conrad is this flagship for the Hiltons. So I'm not sure where this particular one is. Is this the new one that they built in Beverly Hills? I'm not sure, but anyway, they're looking for one. So go to H Careers and find if you're interested in that. Let's see who else is looking. I'm not sure the Carlisle or Rosewood Hotel. I'm not sure. I'm not even familiar with that hotel, but they're looking for a dining room manager. The Carlisle, which is a Rosewood Hotel in LA, they're looking for a dining room manager. And see who else. Security manager at the Millennium Biltmore, which is downtown Los Angeles. And then today, who posted this? The Hilton Los Angeles Airport. They're looking for a human resource manager. Okay, so that's the Hilton LAX, excuse me, located right there on Century Boulevard. They're looking for a human resource manager. Let's see who else. Oh, the Millennium Biltmore is also looking for a front office manager. And then associate field service technology manager. The Conrad LA is looking for that. And that was just 5 days ago. And I think that's it, because I try to limit, security manager at the Hotel Figueroa, which is downtown as well. I love the Hotel Fig. I think that's one of nicer hotels downtown. It's one of those older buildings that has been, I think it was probably circa 1920, somewhere around there. And I think they've done a great job with that. There's a lot of great hotels that are like that that were built around the 20s. But the Hotel Fig is probably one of my favorite ones. They have this pool. It's all on the same level. And I think that's why I like that a little more, because it's around the same level. And they have 2 restaurants. They have a bar scene. It's right across from, and the location is good. So it's right across from LA Live. So which is, right across from the Staples Center. So it's right in that area. It's all in walking distance to LA Live, the Staples Center, to the theater and all that kind of stuff. So that's why I like that property. So if you're interested in any of those positions, just check out H Careers, and you will see that assistant front office manager, Luskin Conference Center. So Luskin is looking for quite a few positions there, and they're looking for a small meetings manager at the Luskin Center as well. So Luskin, like I said, it's on the campus of UCLA, and it's a new conference center they built maybe about 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago. I don't know, somewhere around there. But great facility. Check it out if you're interested in that. Okay, so what's next on my agenda? Let me just make sure I get back to, this is great. This is great. How do you contact me? If you're interested in having a conversation with Russell of Hotels, just to see what makes this Russell of Hotels tick, let's talk to him. Just the best way to get a hold of me is email me, russell@russellofhotels.com. I check my emails all the time. I may not get back to you all the time, but I check my emails all the time, right? So I remember back in the day when emails really started just taking control of our lives, right? As a hotel director of sales, I remember being in a meeting, and I remember it was Reggie McDowell. Okay, I don't know if people know who Reggie McDowell is, but he was a VP of Interstate Hotels. Okay, and he hired me for the DOS position at the Hilton in San Pedro. Okay, and I remember having a meeting, and he was saying, he said, "What can we do? What can we do to better the company or whatever?" I said, "Stop sending as many emails as you do, that mean nothing, right?" He's like, "Well, that's the way things are going now with emails, right? So we can't do that." And he would look over you like this. He'd have his glasses. He would look over you like this. He said, "Well, that's the way of the world now. So I don't think that's going to stop anytime soon." And he was right. Right. So to this day, that was probably almost 20. That was 2020. 2001 or 2002 when he had that conversation. Right. Excuse me, I just took a drink of water. But yeah, I just remember him saying that. I remember me saying it, and because they would send emails that, they just sending emails because it was a thing to do. Not that it was something you needed to respond to, but they're just sending emails on top of emails. And I'm like, we're just getting inundated with too many emails. I'm spending more time reading the email. Well, that is the way of the world now. I just remember him saying that. So, but anyway, and shout out to Reggie McDowell. I'm sure he's probably retired and living the life now. So shout out to him. He hired me back in the day with the, like I said, with it was the Hilton Hilton San Pedro. Then it's now the DoubleTree San Pedro now. So it's the same property, but they changed the name, right? It was right there in the marina on the port. Probably one of the best locations any hotel I've worked in because it's right on the water. I mean, you saw the boats, you see the boats coming in. And back then, that's when Carnival and the cruise ships were ported in San Pedro as well. Now they're in Long Beach, but they were in San Pedro for years, right? And they have the Ports of Call Village there. So anyway, I don't know why I'm throwing this stuff out there, but I guess I can be my own little CVB as well, right, on this show. So it's different. I would check it out. So if you're ever in the San Pedro area, go check out the DoubleTree. And it's right, like I said, it sits right on the water. It's just something to go see. You can have a drink, look at the boats, all that kind of stuff. So boom, there you go. But I don't even know how I got to that point. But if you want to contact me, email me is the best way to get a hold of me. Russell@russellofhotels.com. And then people will say, well, what does this Russell even do? So in a noisy digital space, I keep your brand noticed. Okay. So is that kind of to the point? You're like, what does this Russell do? And let me check to see if I got any comments. No comments. No. So in a noisy digital space, I keep brands noticed. So check out my, you can check out any of my social media platforms, LinkedIn and Instagram. Those are the two that I primarily post on. But look at some of those things that I do, and I do the same things for hotels. So my job is to keep hotels noticed, okay? Because sometimes we forget our hotels, right? Let me just put that under there. See, this platform is great, so I can just move, the notifications down if I want to. But in a digital space, a noisy digital space, I keep your brand noticed. As you can see, a lot of people don't post anymore. They haven't been posting like they should. I post at least twice a day for myself. That's not counting any, companies that I do things for, right? So, but the rule of thumb, if you can post at least twice a day, different content, it can be more about your brand than selling. I don't, selling is that a good thing? There's a time and a place for everything. But you want to get your brand established first. So, a word of advice, establish your brand or reestablish your brand before you start posting, all these promotions and trying to get more sales. Right now it's about marketing. It's about getting your brand out there. What do you stand for? Okay, people don't even know that after this whole COVID thing is gone. And we like to think that COVID has been gone for a year now. Well, it hasn't. Okay, we're still in it. So, but that doesn't mean you have to stop posting. I don't know where it says it's written somewhere that, okay, during a pandemic, we don't post anymore. I don't know where that, have you heard that? Has anyone heard that? No, I don't think so. So make sure we continue to post. Things are loosening up. Think people are coming back. Yeah, people have started to travel. People are doing that. Yeah, we're at the end of the summer now. Yeah, so summer was good, right? But we want to continue the good things that are going on. So make sure you're posting, you're putting things out there because, like I said, in a noisy digital space, you want to be noticed. Okay, and that's one thing I do. That's one thing that Reels will do that other posting doesn't, because the music plays a big role in that. And I don't think people know that, but I can post something that doesn't have music. I can post something that does. And the posting that has music tends to do better than the posting that has no music, right? So, and video is always king. Okay, so just remember. So I just gave you two little tidbits of information you probably didn't even know, right? So I gave you some, but that's what I do. That's one of the things that I do. So let's make sure, if you guys need assistance, just go back to contact me and contact me at russell@russellofhotels.com, and we can have a chat, or you can call me. So you can go to my website, which is russellofhotels.com. Okay. So what else do I do? So, okay. And okay, I already talked about that. Okay. Let's move forward. Hotel site selection. I also have a hotel site selection, or part of Russell of Hotels is, hotel site selection. So basically, companies, organizations, individuals, they need assistance with finding a hotel or a property for their next meeting, their reunion, their retreat, whatever it may be. 10 rooms or more as a group. They hire me or contract me out. It doesn't cost them anything to hire me because the hotel pays me a commission for bringing that business to them. So it doesn't cost you anything. My job is to source out the piece of business, meaning I do the RFP or I send that to the hotels. The hotels respond back to me. I compile the information and give it to my client. The client and I have a conversation about it, and it's up to the client to select the property. But of course, they ask questions about, well, what do you think about this property? Why do you like this property versus that property? And then once they decide, then it goes into the contract phase or stage. Then I assist them with the contract negotiation as well. So not just the pricing or the site, it's all the terms in the contract. Does this need to be in the contract? Let's take this out. Let's take that out, or suggest that it's taken out. Because I see contracts all the time. I've written contracts. So you have to be able to execute those contracts too, or know what the meanings of these particular terms, or this sentence. What does that mean? What does this term mean? And a lot of people don't know that. So that's why I'm here to do that. So that's part of the hotel site selection. So it's not just selecting a site and saying, oh, that's it. I select this site. I think you should stay here, and boom, I get a commission. No, you also have to look at the contracts, make sure the pricing's there. What about food and beverage? Help them with menu selection if they need that. What about the timeliness of, when food comes out? What about the cleanliness of a hotel? What about the service levels? I mean, these are things you have to go look and investigate before you actually recommend that particular property to your client, right? So I have to be, 100% sure that this is the right hotel for this particular client, okay, at this particular time. So you gotta give them the good, the bad, and the ugly. Hashtag hospitality unplugged, right? So you got to be unplugged and go to these places and make sure that you're reporting the right information back to your client, so they make a great decision. Like, this is the place we want to have our property or our program, and then there we go. So, see, that's what I do. So I gave you 2 things that I do, and the third thing that I do, I'm a show host. Okay, so On Air with Russell of Hotels. That's my show, just in case you guys did not know that. So you can always come on the show and talk about your property. I have this new thing that just came up, right? And it's not limited to the property. It's called, basically, it's Alive. And I think I have that written down somewhere that I'll get to. But it's Alive, but we only talk about how did you get into the hospitality field. It's called, did you choose hospitality, or did hospitality choose you? Those are the questions that I ask. There may be a couple more in there, but I have guests that come on to that. I'm doing it on IG Live. The first one, I believe, is this week, this Friday. Marette Padavani, who is a director of marketing in Switzerland, she's going to come on, and I'm going to ask you those 2 questions, or that one question. Did you choose hospitality, or did hospitality choose you? And she's going to give me her whole story about how she got into the hospitality space, and what is she doing now. So it gives you some insight on that person, gives you some insight on, their career, where they stayed, or where they worked, their career progression, where they are now, and what do they do, right? So it's going to give you, it's going to let them talk about their brand and talk about themselves. Who doesn't want to come on a show and talk about themselves? And not necessarily brag, but I would be. So that's what it's all about, right? So that's why I have guests on the show, because I want them to talk about it. But this has nothing to do with the show. So this is an addendum to the show, right? This is an extra thing. This is it's like the aperitif after your meal, right? That sweet drink that, your cocktail aperitif, you know what that is? Anyway, that went over somebody's head, I know. But anyway, so that's what it is. So it's an addition to the show, and it's, like I said, hopefully it lasts about 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. Did hospitality choose you, or did you choose hospitality? Boom, that's it. Well, I sit up at night thinking about stuff like this. Okay, so, but anyway, hey, a quick shout out and this is something that I missed. See, I didn't even put it on my thing here, but a couple of things that I missed. The power of content. Okay. And then I'm just going to give a quick brief, how content is powerful, right? So last week I was in the Valley. I was out in Sherman Oaks, right? Which is right next to Studio City. Okay. So I had lunch with a friend of mine. And then from there, I drove down Ventura Boulevard, and I remembered that the Sportsman Lodge Hotel, which I used to be the general manager and director of sales of some years ago, was getting closed down, was going to be closed down, and was going to be turned into, or constructed into, some apartments, right? So they're going to it's not no longer going to be a hotel, right? So I was there for 3 years. So and it was my first and only general manager's job, okay, position. So I drove by there, and yeah, it had definitely is gated off or whatever. I was able to drive in and kind of look around because they are doing some construction to the building right next to it. So it's a whole complex, right? So they're building like a high-end supermarket, an Equinox, and some other stuff, right? So I was able to drive around and then kind of drive back through. So I took pictures and I posted this on LinkedIn last week. The amount of people that responded because they remember the property, they were saddened by it being closed down because it was built back in 1962, and it was built basically because there was no other hotel in that immediate area. It was right down the street from it's CBS Studios now, but CBS Studios was originally called what was it called? Republic Films or Republic Pictures, that's where they made all those westerns there, right? So like John Wayne and I can name Woody Strode and all those. Okay, any western movie was made at Republic Pictures back in the day, back in the 60s, right? Well, those same stars, when they weren't working, they would bring their families to Sportsman's Lodge because the Sportsman's Lodge had a pool that was almost Olympic size. It was 3 meters short of Olympic size. And I know that because I had it measured, okay? Because I was putting that it was, I was posting, that's what we do in marketing. You post things, the only Olympic size pool in LA County. Well, someone called me on it, right? And they said, when they actually measured it, right? So they had someone come out and measure the pool. And it was 3 meters short of Olympic size. So when they told me that, I couldn't put Olympic size in there. I put oversized pool, right? But it was 3 meters short. And that's how I know that it's actually almost Olympic size. So, but there was a lot of history there, right? People next door, they had a lake where you can fish. You can fish, catch your fish, and have of course, this was back in the day when they probably didn't have health inspectors then. I don't know. But you would catch your fish and the chef would prepare your fish, right? They would clean it, gut it, clean it, cook it, and serve it, right? That's what they did at the Sportsman's Lodge. So a lot of people would come in when they knew I was a general manager there or director of sales or was affiliated with that hotel at all. They would tell me their stories. And the same thing on LinkedIn, people will say, oh, I had my bar mitzvah there. Oh, I learned to fish there. Oh, I met so-and-so there. Oh, all these relationships. Oh, I used to work there. There's tons of people that remember that hotel. And that's the power of social media, right? So people don't think that stuff gets across to people or they see it. Well, they do. And just why wouldn't you want to, post things, right? I mean, that was something, to me, I thought it was something small, but it touched so many people that I didn't think that it would even touch. Okay, so that's the power of social media. So if that doesn't give you ideas of what you should be doing, because it should be part of your strategy, use social media consistently to get your message out. Whatever your product or service is, stay relevant, and it should be a huge part of your marketing strategy. So there you go. So quick shout out to the people at Sportsman's Lodge. I'm sorry to hear that it's closing, but a lot of great people there. I appreciate everything you guys did during my tenure there, which was 2010 to 2013 or 14, somewhere around there. So I do appreciate that. And shout out to Broughton Hotels, specifically Jim, Larry, and Robert. Okay. Gosh, I'm sorry, Robert. Robert, Jim, and Larry. Shout out to you guys, Broughton Hotels and Broughton Hospitality. They used to manage the hotel. So, and that's who I work for. So shout out to them. And Steve Buckler, too. Throw him in there because he was the director. He was the VP of sales and marketing then. He's the one that actually hired me. So shout out to him, too. He's retired out in somewhere in New England now. So shout out to him if he listens to the show. I don't know. But anyway, so and quick shout out to, and this has nothing to do with Sportsman's Lodge, but I had a conversation with her, Doreen Mills. I didn't even know she was the new AGM, assistant general manager at the Sonesta Hotel in El Segundo, which was my first hotel. That's the first hotel I've ever worked in as a housekeeping manager. I was a trainee and then became a housekeeping manager. So shout out to Doreen Mills, and she actually is looking for some help. She needs a night auditor. So if anyone is interested in being a night auditor at the Sonesta Hotel in El Segundo, reach out to Doreen Mills at the Sonesta Hotel in El Segundo. Okay, excuse me while I take a drink of water. So there you go. So I got all that off my plate, right? So I had to make sure I mentioned that stuff because I'm looking and it didn't coincide with my storyboard on my computer, right? Or on this system here, but that's okay. So you guys know I'm a show host, so let me get that off of there. Non-meat eats. You guys know I'm all about the non-meat eats. I mentioned that I was in Studio City or Sherman Oaks the other day, last week. I went to this place called VE Station. It's a vegan Thai restaurant on Ventura Boulevard. The best vegan Thai it tastes better than the regular Thai, right? So if you're ever in the Valley, Ventura Boulevard, you want vegan Thai, VE Station. That's VE as in vegan station or VE Station, vegan Thai place on Ventura Boulevard. Right next, it's in the same complex as El Torito. So if you know that area, it's right there. Are we being consistent with our content or messaging? Keep us up to date. What does that mean? Make sure you're putting all your protocols on your website. So whatever that is, wear a mask, don't have to wear a mask, whatever it is, be consistent with what reality is. Okay. So if you're putting that on your website, make sure that's really happening in real life. So just be consistent and keep people up to date on that stuff. I mentioned my contact information. I'm on every social media platform. I'll just say at Russell of Hotels. My real name is Russell Edmond, so you may see that as well. But at Russell of Hotels, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, all those, and Clubhouse as well. So if you guys are on Clubhouse, and my website is russellofhotels.com. Any sponsorship or promotion opportunities, just imagine, do you see how many times during the show that ticker has been going? It's probably gone 100 times. So just imagine your company or your business, your organization, your name being on that ticker, or maybe even a picture in the background, right? So just imagine that. And that's what, sponsorship looks like. You can come on the show. You can talk about it. We can, talk about your journey in the hospitality. Okay. So that's what it's all about. So whatever you can foresee, we can make it happen, or I can make it happen, because I'm a one-man show here. So I got 2 laptops going. I have a desktop. I have the Rodecaster. I have my iPad. I got everything going. I got another camera over there. I got everything going, and I'm pushing it. I'm controlling it myself. So I'm a one-man show, one-man band. So anything like that, like I said, the sponsorship and all that stuff, just go to russellofhotels.com, check it out, and it gives you everything that that's included. Let's see. I told you what I did. Why do people, and I've been asking this question, why do people do TikTok videos or silly videos or things? Because people want to be noticed. So if you're a director of marketing, you're in charge of marketing for your brand or for this particular brand. What are you doing to be noticed? That's just a question. Okay. I already gave answers to how I could help you, and how I can help you is just contact me, and we'll start with that, right? Contact me, and how do you contact me again? There you go. So if you want to contact me, just please Russell at russellofhotels.com. Go ahead and contact me, and we can chop it up about what I think you can do. Okay. So we're coming to the end of the show. Don't worry, but there's a couple of things that I always want to mention. But getting back to the whole TikTok thing, that was the whole craze, and there's people still doing TikTok, and then IG Reels was Instagram's answer to TikTok videos, right? So people do the same things on IG Reels and Remix and all these carousel, all those things. All those things are tools to be noticed, and so people don't forget, right? And that's what you should be doing as someone that's responsible, that's been given the responsibility of marketing for a hotel or for a restaurant or for your CVB. You got to be creative. You can't be doing what everybody else doing or the old stuff. Include some music, do some things that are catchy, right? I mean, like I said, go and look at some of my Instagram stuff just to see, some of the music is catchy. Okay. So people, they may not even click on it to see what the content is as far as what I wrote. They may just want to listen to the music, but whatever it is, they go back and they look at it and they remember. That's the thing that you want. People, you have to stay relevant and you have to stay noticed. Okay. So there you go. Number one, these are 4 questions I always ask every week. What is your brand doing to stay relevant? If you're the director of marketing, what are you doing to keep your brand relevant? Number 2, are you marketing differently or the same as before COVID? If you are, you probably need to change that your strategy. Okay. Number 3, how are you connecting with your past or current clients or customers? Are you connecting with them at all? Are you doing it via social media? Are you calling them? Are you doing email blasts? What are you doing? Are you getting asked these questions? I mean, the general managers ask these questions like, what are you doing to keep us noticed, to keep us up front? I was just having a conversation. It's funny. I was having a conversation with a former director of sales a little while ago, a little earlier today. And she said she was leaving. She doesn't want to be a director of sales anymore because she said she was tired of lying. I said, what do you mean you're tired of lying? We get in these sales meetings and you're saying that you're doing this and you're doing that, and you're not really doing that. See, now that's someone that's not being creative. That's someone that's trying to do things the same way they've been doing forever. Okay. I'll be doing, if you're not talking to someone, if you're not in front of someone, breaking bread with, on the phone with, and these are things Steve Steinhardt used to say, right? You guys know who Steve Steinhardt is? But Steve Steinhardt, he would talk about, if you're not talking to someone, breaking bread with, in front of, on the phone, talking about business, then you're basically wasting your time. So if you can't do those things, what can you do? Boom, social media. Okay, you can be posting things left and right twice a day. See, that's the things that you can be doing. I'm sorry, I had to mute myself because I had to cough and I had to take a drink of water. So excuse me for that. But if you're at that point where you're like making stuff up in sales meetings, excuse me, but you need to be doing something. What are you doing? What can you be doing? Call Russell of Hotels, and Russell of Hotels will tell you, or at least give you some advice on what you could be doing. Okay. And it's not going to cost a lot of money. That's the thing. It's just going to take some time to do. Right. But there's no way that anyone should be saying that or feeling that they have to do that, because you got to be creative these days. Like I said, if you're number 2 was, are you marketing differently or the same as before COVID? If the answer is that you're not, then you're doing something wrong. You cannot market the same way, because guess what? People aren't even around. Okay. People not in their offices. So what are you doing to market to those people? You can't just be sitting around with your, sitting on your hands. I was going to say something else, but I caught myself. Anyway, so let me get off of that one. Okay. So where was I? Number 3, how are you connecting with your past or current clients? I think I was there. Are you staying engaged? How are you staying engaged? Number 4, what has the situation taught you? Has it taught you anything at all? This whole COVID thing, what do you do now? I mean, what has it taught me? It's taught me that I needed to do more of the following. I needed to do more social media presence because I need people to know what I do. I don't want them to forget that there's certain things that I do, right? And I can help. I'm the brand that helps out the hotel brands. That's it. Okay. My job is to help you. And by coming on the show, that's helping out your brand, right? By doing social media postings, by advising you on how to do it, that's helping out your brand. So my job, Russell of Hotels, is to assist hotels. That's it. Via social media, hotel site selection, I do task force, whatever. Those are, those are things I've done in the past, right? I try to regulate it now or concentrate solely on the social media, the digital marketing piece, the keeping your brand up, up front, notice, relevant. And then, of course, the hotel site selection that I do for other clients as well. So those are things that I do. So, what's the situation taught you? Did I need to do more social media presence so people know what I do, more lives, which I am, podcasts. I started a podcast. You don't necessarily have to do a podcast, but you can come on and be a guest on someone's podcast. And then I'm a brand advocate, right? Now, a brand advocate is brand advocate is different than a brand ambassador. Okay. A brand advocate is someone that will do it because they love your brand, right? They will post things because they're crazy about your brand. That's it, right? So Southwest Airlines, I'm crazy about Southwest Airlines, right? So I post things when I fly them. I let you know who I'm flying on, okay? Because I'm a brand advocate. I've been a member of their frequent fly program since 95. I have the card I can show you. The original card that I got, I still have it, right? So I'm a member. I've been a member since 95. So I'm a brand advocate. So hotels have the same thing. It's just that they haven't found them. Okay. It doesn't cost you anything to have a conversation with someone that may be a frequent stayer of your hotel. Have them start posting things for you, or do a live, or do a quick little podcast, or whatever. I mean, there's a lot of things we could be doing that we're just not doing. But I got a lot of those. I got a lot of advice on how to do these things, but you just have to be willing to do it. And coming to the end of the show, we're at 157. Remember this: marketing is never about you. It begins with your audience and what they want. Once you know what your audience wants, connect them with a product or service in a way they want to receive it. I mentioned what a brand advocate was: someone that will just do things just because they love your brand, just because they love, I love, what brands do I love that I would just do things? Earl's Grill. Okay. I love their vegan hot dogs. Okay. Earl doesn't have to pay me anything, right? I will post about Earl's and their chili cheese fries, vegan chili cheese fries, from today till whenever, and they don't have to give me a darn thing, okay? Just because I love the brand, I love their food, I love they do vegan well. It's not a vegan restaurant, but they have vegan items, right? So they could do it half ass if they wanted to, but no, they do it the right way. So I love Earl. Earl's on Crenshaw, just in case you didn't want to know. You want to drive by, okay, and partake in some of the goodness of Earl's Grill. But I'm a brand advocate of them, and I would advocate with them for nothing. Okay, so that's what a brand advocate is, and that's what a brand advocate can do for you. Remember the show, the new live that I have is called "Did You Choose Hospitality or Did Hospitality Choose You?" It's going to be live on LinkedIn. The one I'm doing on Friday with Maret Padavani is going to be at 11 a.m. I should do a posting for that coming up. But yeah, check that out. And if you don't check it out live, it's going to be on Instagram and LinkedIn forever. So don't worry about if you can't do it live. So ending of the show, I always end it with these 4 things. This is Russell of Hotels, the 4 P's. Purpose. Know why you're doing what you do. Number 2, people. Be an inclusive leader. Number 3, passion. Either you have it or you don't. Perseverance. Be consistent. Continue to evolve. Don't give up and swerve when you need to. Are you a leader? Well, if you are, lead by example and be more inclusive with your team. Use this time. If you have any downtime, use that time to develop yourself, separate yourself from the pack, learn something new, invest in yourself, and always stay relevant. Just like, okay, when I had time to redevelop this podcast, right? I bought new equipment. I mean, I'm all in, right, on the podcast thing. I'm all in. And if I have to buy things to enhance the experience, and that's what I'm going to do, because that's what you have to do, right? You can't just, it's okay. No, you got to update your stuff, man. I mean, that's just it. Okay. Focus on what you can control Your brand is your culture. Stay positive and stay in control. Leadership dictates where your company will go. I've worked with some hotels that were bad leaders. Okay, not any of the ones that I was the leader of, but and it's funny how you can go back to those hotels now with new leadership, you can see total difference, right, from when I was there. Okay, people can tell when a bad leader is gone and like, well, what did you guys renovate? No, it's not the renovation. It's just that they renovated the leadership. The leadership has now changed, right? You can tell that as soon as you walk through the door. You could. It's like an aura or a fragrance or something. But you can definitely tell, things have changed. If you frequent a hotel and it was bad leadership or questionable leadership, and you come back and it seems like things have changed, oh yeah, you can tell the difference. So that's it. Leadership dictates where your company will go. Be a good leader and be consistent. So anyway, you guys have a great week. I appreciate you guys sticking with me, hanging with me. Once again, this is On Air with Russell of Hotels. The music is starting, so that means I'm about to get off. So you guys take care. Have a great week, and I will talk to you soon.
Thank you for joining On Air with Russell of Hotels. Please tune in every Tuesday at 1 p.m. as we talk to other hospitality professionals. Your feedback is important to Russell. Feel free to email him at russell@russellofhotels.com with any questions or suggestions.